Hi. So let's talk about all the different riding modes on the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. The mode button is right here, so it's directly accessible. You can switch between road, rain and sport on the move without stopping the bike. But when you have to come into off-road, off-road pro or rider, then your bike does need to be stationary. I think this is primarily done in the interests of forcibly reminding you of your traction control and ABS settings. The rain mode is primarily used when you feel that there's less grip. So primarily wet tarmac. Or one more use of the rain mode is if you're riding with a pillion. There's less of head banging because the power rolls out more gradually. So in the rain mode, your ABS and traction control are more sensitive, so it will cut in sooner, and your throttle response is more muted. So although you are turning a lot of throttle on the bike, the throttle bodies are not opening as much. So the engine doesn't feel that the throttle has been turned that much. So think of it as a mellow riding mode. A lot of people also use rain mode to familiarize themselves with a motorcycle. Then we come to road mode. So on the road mode, it's your decent setting. This is what I use for cruising on the highways. ABS is on, traction control is on, and throttle response is at a medium level. On the sport mode, the only thing changes there is a more aggressive throttle response. And what mode you are on will also sort of determine what your tire life is. So if you're riding throughout on sport mode, expect to get lesser life out of your tire as compared to a road or a rain mode. Now we come to the rider, off-road pro and off-road. And I'll explain when to use each of these three. So off-road pro is the more heroic mode. It sort of offers you full control of your motorcycle. There's no ABS and no traction control. And you could sort of spin out or block your brakes and have a fall. But in some situations, you will definitely need it. One is deep sand. Other is when you're sort of riding faster and you're turning the bike or you're controlling the direction on the throttle. At these two times, you don't want to be in the regular off-road mode. The regular off-road mode is your sort of go-to mode for most off-road situations, especially when touring and things like that. It'll allow a little bit of slip, but it still intervenes to give you some sort of grip and traction. You can get more more adventurous with the throttle, and it'll still intervene and you'll still be on the bike. Then my main go-to mode really is, that's what I use in most of the hills, and especially where the roads are a little bumpy as well, is the rider mode. The mode is my go-to mode for most things because it's a bit customizable. I keep the ABS on road because I want that added net of safety in case I have to do a sudden maneuver or try and stop in a hurry. You don't want to slide out and fall down. I keep the map primarily on the road. I want to get the best tire life, and honestly the throttle response is good enough here. I keep traction control on the off-road setting because I don't want the bike to cut off power. A lot of times when the corners are quite bumpy or sharp and you want to open the throttle, the traction control kicks in. So traction control is on off-road. Also, a lot of times, especially in this region, there's a mix of, straight from tarmac, you go into a little bit of off-road section. And especially when you're climbing and all, if you're in road or sport or rain mode and you give throttle, it'll cut power. So on my rider mode, the traction control is always on off-road. Let's summarize it again. Sketchy grip, you have rain mode. If you want to familiarize yourself with a bike, or if you're with a pillion and you want the ride to be smoother, you're on rain mode. Road mode, honestly, is good for highway cruising and stuff. The rider mode with off-road traction control and road ABS is what I use for most of my hilly and sporty riding. Off-road mode is when I'm touring and we're going to hit some rough sections. Off-road pro is for when it gets really serious and I want full control of the throttle. So you want the wheel to be spinning and not stopping. So deep sand or when you're trying to really go fast off-road is when you're going to use off-road pro. So yeah, I hope this video helps you guys get and ride in the right mode. Cheers.